Hello and welcome to Friday's Masterclass edition of Cracking the Cryptic. This is the episode each week where we tackle the day's Times Cryptic Crossword. And we do this live for you, so it's going to be this puzzle here, which is by an old friend of mine, Jason Crampton, none other, in fact, than the Times Crossword editor at the moment, and an all-round good egg, and somebody whose puzzles I have a lot of difficulty with normally. There is some people say, I was never quite on the same wavelength as the constructor. Well, I often feel that with Jason. He's got a very unusual mind, I think, and I've forgotten before I turned on the webcam to check the snitch rating. So let's have a quick look at the times that have been recorded here. The first 5 times there are not real, and in the sense that they're people who have been shown in the past to have to basically type the answers in. So I'm not saying that these people didn't solve the puzzle. They may well have solved the puzzle, but then they type them in every day, and that is why there is no variation each day in their times. No matter how hard the puzzle is, they always record the same time, which is not really something we're interested in if we're going to try and identify how hard the puzzle is. Nathan Panning is a real time there, 6 minutes 29. Although there aren't many other names I recognise. Let me just go slightly further. Oh my goodness, what on earth does that mean? That's not a good sign, is it? Oh, it's come back now. Okay, so the first 2 names I definitely recognise here. Andrew Fisher, Aphis 99, 9 minutes. That's a very slow time for him. Suggests the puzzle is difficult. And that's not Jason Crampton, that's Jason James, who is a brilliant solver in 9 minutes 04. Yeah, so it looks like this is a difficult puzzle to me. If you've got very good solvers taking 9 minutes. Oh, Matthew Marcus there with a rare error. Matthew won the Times Crossword Championship 2 years ago, and 6 minutes 38, so very quick, but with an error. So we're not going to feel too bad about ourselves if we don't manage to get this one done with any sort of alacrity. What is going on with the Times website today? This is not very good, is it? Okay, it keeps coming back when you hit refresh. Oh, I hope this is nothing to do. About 10 minutes before I turned on the webcam and started the video, we had a power cut here. That wouldn't stop. That wouldn't cause those errors, though, would it? I'm terrified of power cuts for reasons you can well imagine. But anyway, we'll keep our fingers crossed that was just a temporary hiccup and it has been mended. Right. Anyway, so we'll get to the solving in a minute. Welcome, by the way, if you're here from the Minute Cryptic videos, which I know some of you have found your way to the channel from those videos. We do a Minute Cryptic video every day over on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube, of course, as well. I think you'll be in for a treat. If you're here from Minute Cryptic, you'll find Jason's clues an absolute joy. And what else did I want to mention? Oh, yeah, if you do enjoy these videos, please do like the video, please do subscribe, please drop a comment in. That would be very kind. The YouTube algorithm is not kind to these videos. It really prefers us to make Sudoku videos, but we really, the channel's called Cracking the Cryptic. We love cryptic crosswords, so we'd love to keep doing this video every week. And you can sort of encourage the algorithm gently by subscribing. If you're not already subscribed, that would be most kind. And let's try and get these puzzles known about to a wider community. Now, there might be a little bit of aeroplane noise in the background in a moment because Maverick has taken off from the local airfield. I can hear him and he's about to bust past my window. As always, well, it's normally a propitious sign. It normally means there's a good puzzle if Maverick appears early. That's what I claim anyway. Oh, and a little bit of sad news as well. I want to give a shout out to Liam, one of our viewers, who wrote very movingly to me. And Liam very sadly lost his mother a couple of weeks ago. Liam, I was very sad to read your email, and I found your words incredibly poignant. I totally agree with you about John Donne's words in the poem, and I wish you very well. Thank you. I mean, Liam got his mother into Cracking the Cryptic, and I think that they both watched the Cryptic Crossword video each week. Yeah, anyway, I'm not very good at moments like this, but I I was moved by your email, Liam, and I wish you and your family, of course, all the best at this difficult time. Now, let me try and get my thoughts in order. Shall we start? Now, is my dictionary up and running? Yeah, the dictionary is on the screen. That is a good thing. I won't be using the dictionary before I lock in answers, if you see what I mean, or I'll certainly try not to. But it's nice to have the dictionary there to try and explain some of the principles as and when we can spot any principles. Anyway, let's have a look at the puzzle. What's Jason got in store for us? We've got one across is 7 letters. Let's get cracking. Sleeping partner may be in this close relationship. Sleeping partner may be in this. It sort of feels like duvet or something. I don't know. Sleeping partner may be in this close relationship. I don't know. I mean, let's do a very quick recap on how cryptic crossword clues work. Every clue in this puzzle will have a definition of the answer to be entered into it. So a bit like a quick crossword clue. There's always a quick crossword clue in every cryptic crossword clue. You just have to spot where it is in the clue, and it's almost always at the start or the end. So it's very likely this is a 7-letter word that means sleeping, sleeping partner, or relationship or close relationship. Sleeping could be dormant. Partner may be in this close relation. Bed. Sleeping partner may be in this close relationship. Bedfellows or something, or fellow, I don't know. Anyway, the rest of the clue that isn't the quick crossword clue, is a recipe that tells you how to build the letters of the answers together in order to create the overall word. So it might say, put this word into another word, or it might say, look at this string of letters and anagram them. And those recipes could be written in very clever ways, but they must, and this is so important, they must work grammatically and be precise. So once you recognize it's a recipe, you should be able to read it as an exact instruction to give you the answer. Now, the best way of me demonstrating this will be to actually solve a clue. Let's try 5 across, 7 letters. I'm surprised not having left. That woman had cheated. I'm surprised. So I don't know what this one where the definition is here, but I suspect it's had cheated. And the reason for that is that woman. Can I think of a synonym for that woman? Or that, no, hang on, that woman had. That woman had could be she'd. She'd done this. And shed is a very nice ending of a word, isn't it? So I think this will end in shed or she'd, and it'll mean cheated. And then the start of the recipe, I'm surprised, is going to be a 4-letter word for I'm surprised, like gulp or something like that, not having left, so without an L. And the reason that we'd take L out of this word is that left can be abbreviated to L. And you can see that by going to the dictionary. Almost all abbreviations that are used in cryptic crosswords have to be supported by the dictionary. So if we look at L here, we can see it is a valid abbreviation for the word left. So we can think of this as a bit like an equation. We've got a 4-letter word for I'm surprised, minus not having, L for left, then this word she'd for that woman had, and the whole thing means cheated, fleeced, cheated. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Oh, I can't get it, but I think this is right. So I'm gonna look at the 7 down, beginning with H. Hopefully, 7 letters. Special means of receiving stolen stock. What? Maybe it doesn't begin with S. Special can be abbreviated to S, I think. Means of receiving stolen stock. Sort of special means of receiving. Stolen. If something's stolen, it's hot, isn't it? Special means of receiving. Hot. I don't know. Gosh, I'm doing terribly. Right, let's try 8 down. Hopefully beginning with D, 10 letters. International cap making comeback gradually with great effort. Determinedly or something? International cap making comeback gradually. Oh, I mean, there's so much going on there that this is not where we start the puzzle. So I'm going to look at 5 down and hope I can get the first letter for 5 across. 6 letters. Woman's top that is least likely to fit. Women's top. That sounds like the top of the word women, which might be W. Welshed. Ooh, okay. So, all right. So I've managed to get 5 across now. Our word for I'm surprised is not gulp. It's well. W-E-L-L. You might go, well, I never, I suppose, would be an extended version of I'm surprised, but well could be euphemistically, well. So if we take the word well, and then we take one of the L's out of it, we get just well. And to Welsh is to cheat. Let's look at that in the dictionary. I'm pretty confident. Oh, my W key is going all over the shop at the moment. I was thinking, this doesn't seem right, but there is another meaning here. Welsh or obsolete Welsh. To run off from a racecourse without settling or paying one's debts. To fail to pay. To avoid fulfilling an obligation, fail to keep one's promise. To cheat in such a way. So absolutely, that is consistent with cheated, isn't it? Welshed. Not an easy clue, but this does suggest that women's top in 5 down might be W. That is least likely to fit. Widest? Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So we need a little bit of Latin here. If somebody put IE in a piece of writing, I.E, what does that mean? Id est, that is, from Latin. So we can create W, women's top, that is, id est, and something that's the least likely to fit would be potentially the widest. That was the widest thing that we had, and it probably wouldn't fit you very well, would it, if it was the widest thing? So that's why the question mark is there. I mean, it might fit you. It might be the perfect fit if it was the widest thing, but it's probably not going to. So that's what the question mark's doing. Now, let's try 6 down then. Parodied could be lampooned. Yeah, okay. So, an old poem in a funny way. So this is a straightforward anagram. So again, we cut the clue. Now this time we're cutting it after the word parodied, so we're just simply looking for a 9-letter word that means parodied. The rest of the clue is a recipe. An old poem. It's not making, you don't have to think of the Aeneid or the Iliad or the Odyssey. I haven't seen the film yet. I am looking forward to doing so. But you don't have to think of an old poem because the clue is not referring to old poems. It is using the letters A-N-O-L-D, P-O-E and M, and those letters are going to be treated in a funny way. They're going to be anagrammed. And if we do that, we can create lampooned. I mean, we were lucky there because we got the L, and that helped a lot, didn't it? Now we might try 10 across. 5 letters beginning with M. Sound of bottle made from aluminium. Question mark. Okay, I do know this. This is trickier. If you've got an idea about what the answer is, that's great. Firstly, that is great. If your brain is starting to come up with ideas, but then pause the video and force your brain. For brains are recalcitrant things. They don't do what you want them to do often. You sort of tell your brain, think of the answer, and your brain just will wander off and look out the window or something. You have to make your brain do it. Force it to think, especially in these attention-starved times. Brains like thinking even less. Force your brain to think about why the answer might be the word you've got in your mind. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cut the clue after the word bottle. So the recipe part of this clue is sound of bottle, and the definition part is made from aluminium ? Now, let's deal with the sound of bottle first. If we see references in cryptic crossword clues to the sound of things, and it might be indicated with a phrase like "we hear," or "by the sounds of it," or "I caught," because if you catch something, you hear it, then the constructor is very often wanting you to think about a homophone, i.e. a word that sounds identical to another word but is spelt differently and has a different meaning. So can we think of a word for bottle beginning with M? And I'll think of a word for bottle as in nerve, rather than bottle as in something that holds wine. And the word you want is metal, METTLE. Now, metal, with that meaning, means bottle. It means, a test of your metal, a test of, your character. But it sounds identical to this word, doesn't it? Metal, as in something that can, something made of metal. And so the definition in this clue, made from aluminium, it could have said made from any other metal, made from gold, ? Aluminium is an example of a metal. So if something is made from aluminium, it could be described as metal. If something is made of gold, it could be described as metal. And that's why the question mark is there. It's saying aluminium is an example of what something described as metal could be made from. This could begin with hot now, couldn't it? Special means of receiving. Stolen stock. Hot. Okay, I have got this now. Right. So, yeah, and we do have to cut it in the place that I was suggesting. Special means of receiving. Cut the clue. So if this was a quick crossword, the definition would be special means of receiving. Now, it wouldn't be. If you were doing a quick crossword, you probably would expect a slightly clearer clue than this, but this answer could be described as a special means of receiving, not stolen goods, but a special means of receiving a message. You might receive a message on a hotline. Now, why is this correct? The recipe is going to tell us why this is correct. So if something is stolen, it's hot, and stock ? You get a line of stock, don't you? A line of merchandise, for example. So stock and line are synonymous in that sense. So hotline is going to be right. No, do I want to? I didn't like that 8 down clue. I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to look at 11 across, although it's 13 letters. I always prefer long answers if they're broken up into smaller words, but let's see if we can get this. 13 letters, 11 across. Granting authority to religious campaign during Advent. Okay, there's only one part of this clue that I can get any grasp on at all, and that's the word Advent. Because what is Advent? What does Advent mean as a word? It's the coming, isn't it? Now, during Advent suggests that we might be putting the word coming on the outside of something. And look at the letters here. If this answer was like commissioning or something, that would be really nice. Commissioning. It probably is commissioning. Yeah, a religious campaign's a mission, isn't it? I think it could be. And if you're granting authority to someone, you're commissioning them. I mean, commissioning I would think of as more of hiring, but I think it could mean granting authority. I mean, I'm pretty sure that must be right. Let's check. So we'd look at mission. I'm not changing it. So mission something, a sending out of people on a diplomatic errand for the spreading of a religion. That was something to do with the clue, wasn't it? Religious campaign. And then commissioning. It was meant to be granting authority or something. Yeah, there's authority in the clue. A document conferring authority or the authority itself. Lovely. So we basically could get that as a result of just thinking about one word in the clue was enough to give us that answer. Now what's this then? Delegating? Delegation? International cap? Or diligent? No, I'm not sure. International cap. Making comeback. Gradually. With great effort. Yes. Okay, let's look at the start of this. International cap making comeback. If parts of clues seem to be indicating the positions of things or instructing you to do something that's positional, it's very likely to be part of the wordplay, part of the recipe. Because if something makes a comeback, what does it do? It reverses its order, doesn't it? So the tricky part here is knowing that international can be I. It can be, and I'm not actually sure why that is a valid. We'll look at it in a minute, but it can be. But cap, can I think of a short synonym for a cap? Yes. Lid. A lid is a cap, isn't it? So I think this begins with I for international and lid for cap, all making a comeback. And now it looks like diligently, doesn't it? Gradually. If something's gradually, it's gently. And with great effort, if something was done with great effort, it would be done diligently. So now the only part of that clue that's perhaps is I for international. Let's go and have a look. It's right there. It just doesn't tell me why it's there, but it is there. So diligently. And now what's this? Intern, unseen. Andean? I don't know, 15 across. Trainee barrister's conclusion. Pretty much determined cases. A trainee is an intern, so that's going to be the answer. And then we just have to work out why. Barrister's conclusion. That is the conclusion of the word barrister. So that must be this R. Pretty much. Lovely. So if you can't see why this is correct, stop the video again. Pause the video and force your brain to do the thinking about it. Because it's right, it's beautifully phrased. So, as I said at the very start, the recipes have to be precise. So barrister's conclusion is this R, and the rest of the clue then has to give not only the letters I-N-T-E-N, but it has to explain why they're outside the word R. So the key to understanding this is to realise that if you're determined on to do something, you're intent on it. I-N-T-E-N-T. And pretty much determined is saying take almost all of the word for determined. So take almost all of the word intent. So we're just going to take I-N-T-E-N, and that is going to case. If something cases something, it surrounds it, doesn't it? So it cases the conclusion to the word barrister. So again, it's quite mathematical. I always think that cryptic crossword clues are quite mathematical when written properly. But the way in which it's mathematical, the way that the equation is expressed, is incredibly clever. Because you have to read these words in ways that they don't apparently want you to read them. Trainee barrister's conclusion pretty much determined cases. It's beautifully worded. It's suggesting there's a trainee barrister who's come to a conclusion about come to a legal conclusion, and that's pretty much, given rise to a guilty verdict in a case or something like that. Whereas all those words do completely different things in the cryptic reading. Now let's have a look at that one then. Something devil, she-devil. Cast wicked character as her. It must be she-devil, I think. Cast, yeah. Character as her. I think I'm pretty sure it's she-devil for this reason. If you cast something, you shed it. You shed your skin. And if you're wicked, you're evil. Put those together, you get she-devil. Character as her. I mean, if you just split the clue, character as her, that doesn't quite define she-devil, does it? So the way it defines she-devil is if character as her has taken some meaning from the word cast and wicked, especially the word wicked. So it's this is a clue which is where the definition has been flavoured, if you like, by the wordplay. And that's what the question mark is telling us there. Question marks do all sorts of duties in cryptic crossword clues. And one of them is to say, we need to read the clue a bit more widely than we might expect. But I think she-devil must be right. Now let's try 20 down, beginning with V, 7 letters. Long-winded. I can immediately think of a word that might work there, beginning with V. The word I'm thinking of is verbose. If you're verbose, you're sort of long-winded, aren't you? So if you do think of an answer, then the question is, does the recipe justify it? So we're cutting it after winded. Book, half of which is fine. Book, half of which is saying take half of the word book. B-O. And that's boring, i.e. it's inside, it's bored into a word for poetry. Well, a word for poetry is verse, and that gives us verbose. Now, look at what Jason's done, though, here. It's beautifully worded. Long-winded book, half of which is boring poetry. The surface is gorgeous. Oh, God, that book was so long. And half of it was this tedious poetry. But actually, what Jason's done is the word boring here is being used in a completely different sense in order to make the wordplay work. Shall we try? Let's try 16 down. 8 letters, blank H at the start. What crammer may do? Help to get into Oxford. Okay, well, I know what I want this answer to be. I don't quite know why it is. Maybe. I don't know. Well, I want this. The context in which I think this clue will make some sort of sense is nothing to do with university and doing exams by cramming for them. I think it's to do with the meaning of Oxford as a type of shoe. So what would help you get into a shoe? Well, isn't it shoehorn? Is that what we're doing here? What crammer may do. Help to get into Oxford. So yeah, I think if somebody's cramming something into a space, you describe them as shoehorning it in, wouldn't you? So a crammer might shoehorn. To shoehorn must be a verb then. And help to get into Oxford is shoehorn, because an Oxford is a type of shoe. I'm pretty sure it's shoehorn. Let's look up shoehorn. To squeeze or compress into a tight or insufficient space. Well, that's exactly what a crammer might do. And then, so the part of the clue that's perhaps not obvious is that Oxford, if we go to Oxford, there we go, a low-heeled laced shoe. Oxford or brogues, is that from the film? What's that from? It's the Colin Firth one. And oh God, it's very good. Exy or something. That's the name of the character. A Kingsguard or something. Kingsman. That's a good film, by the way. The first Kingsman film, I think, is a brilliant film. Oxford or brogues is something. It's some sort of password in that film. Taron Egerton. Something like that. Anyway, that's I don't even know why I'm talking about it. Well, I know, because of the Oxford or brogues thing. Let's have a look at 28 across. Beginning with N, 7 letters. Innovation of 4 distinct points separated by 3 more. Okay, I don't know what this is yet, but to me it feels like we're looking for a 7-letter word that means innovation. I think I've got this actually. And 4 distinct points. And that word for innovation is made out of, that's what the word of is doing. It's saying we're going to create this word, for 7-letter word for innovation, out of 4 distinct points. Well, that's points of the compass, I think. North, south, east and west. So N, E, W and S. So we need 4 of those separated by 3 more points of the compass. So we're looking for a 7-letter word made entirely of N's, E's, W's and S's that means innovation. So I think it's newness. That feels right, doesn't it? Yeah, and it is. I was wondering why it just didn't say sort of 7 distinct points, but I now understand why. 4 distinct points is very clear. That's saying, without repeats, they're all distinct. So north, south, east, west. North, south, east, west. So the 4 distinct points surround 3 more points. N, E and S there. Now what's this? As is, probably? 2-2, 24 down. Given the circumstances, foundation has to let leader go. Yeah, okay. Given the circumstances, as is, foundation is a basis, and it's let the leader go, so it's let its first letter go. So basis without the B, and we're all good. Now we've got a W in 23 down, 5 letters. US author deleting line in book subsequently. Right. That's quite a clever clue. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised by that, but as I was reading the clue, I had an idea of the answer immediately, but then it took me all those seconds where I said nothing in order to actually work out why it was the answer. So, firstly, form a hypothesis yourself about how the clue works. What do you think the recipe part of this clue is? Hopefully, you're seeing that phrase deleting line, and you may not know this, but you may wonder whether line has an abbreviation. It does. Line can be abbreviated to L. So US author deleting line is a pretty clear instruction. We need a 6-letter US author. The author will have an L in their name, and we're going to remove the L. Now, you may be aware of, is it Saul Bellow? Now, if we take bellow and take the L out, we get below. And at first glance, although it's obviously a word, it ends in W, it feels great, but in books subsequently, how is that defined by below? But of course, if you were reading a book, anything that was subsequent to where you were currently in the book would be below it, in the sense it would be after it, wouldn't it? So below in a book would be subsequent to whatever you were reading at that point. It would be later in the story. So I think that's what's going on here. Now, what's this? Something member? 22 across? 7-6. One ultimately formed number involved in new organization. I haven't got this yet, but I think I know how it works. This is another one where we're focusing very much on letters. So, one ultimately. What could that mean? I think it means take the ultimate letter of the word one. That's E. And then we've got the word formed and the word number. But of course, formed is made up of the letters F-O-R-M-E-D. Number is N-U-M-B-E-R. And if E for the end letter of one, all the letters of formed and all the letters of number were involved. Involved can mean complicated, can't it? It was an involved situation. We're going to complicate these letters. We're going to anagram them. That would give us 13 letters. So that would be, and then if that's all correct, then that means in new organization or new organization. It does look like something member, doesn't it? We've got two M's. So Ford E, unfordy. Hang on, the first word is made up of those, I think. Founder member. In new organisation. Yeah, again, it's a similar one to that other one, in the sense that the definition, it isn't just the words in new organisation. It's okay. I've done this clue a slight disservice. I was thinking that the word involved was doing the duty of the anagram. This is actually an and lit, i.e. the idea here is that the whole clue is a definition. So if we read the clue afresh, read the whole clue and don't think of it cryptically. Imagine it was a quick crossword clue. One ultimately formed number involved in new organisation. Could define a founder member, couldn't it? That sentence could define a founder member. And then, if we reread it the way I suggested, but involved in new organisation, it's all doing the duty of saying we're going to reorganise these letters, not just the word involved. Then that is, I think, how the clue is meant to be read. Why am I getting that weird blue wheel thing? That's a bit worrying. Hopefully it's gone away. Anyway, there we go. Oh, it's back again. No, go away. Bad blue wheel. The thing is working, isn't it? Recording 39 minutes. I think the recording's working. I'm getting a blue wheel for some reason. Let's try 26 across. 4-5. Fairness of moral views. Something looks, good looks. Yeah, I think that is the answer. So here we're going to cut the clue out after the word fairness. And what we're not looking for here is a word that means fair as in equitable. We're looking for fair as in glamorous, good looking. If somebody was described as very fair, they would be, euphemistically in the old days, they would be very good looking, wouldn't they? So fairness is good looks, and the way that we're making the word or the phrase good looks is equal to moral. If you're moral, you're good. And views, if you've a view is a look, so in the plural, looks, so good looks. Now we could get brogue in there for Oxford or Brogue. Let's try this one, 21 down. 6 letters, Big Bang, origin? Big Bang possibly. Boosted part of UK banking system. That's a brilliant clue, sort of referring to the Big Bang, the deregulation of the financial services sector, which was when did that happen? Is that under the Thatcher government? It was a while ago. Anyway, so Big Bang, possibly boosted. Why is it origin? Gyro. Oh, part of the... that's brilliant. Wow. Okay. Wow. So it is Big Bang, and not as in Big Bang Theory, which is a great TV show. But Big Bang obviously was possibly the origin of the universe. So origin is the answer. And how does the recipe work? Well, if you boost something, this is a down clue. So what do you think boost could mean? If you give somebody a boost, you sort of lift them, don't you? So in a down clue, to boost can be to reverse. So we're going to reverse part of the UK. Well, part of the UK is Northern Ireland, which can be abbreviated to NI. And a banking system is gyro. What does gyro stand for? I don't know. But it is gyro, a banking system organised by Gyrobank, by which money can be transferred direct from the account of one holder to that of another person. So there we go. This is another superb clue. Now we could try this. This could be in utero, couldn't it? 2-5. I'm getting very lucky here, because I'm doing some of these without even reading the clues, just because they've got unusual checking letters. But 2-5 here. Route changed after, during, and before delivery. And if something is before delivery in a pregnancy sense, it's in utero, while the baby is in the uterus. So, and route has been changed, anagram, the letters of the word route, after a word that means during. Well, if something happens during something, it happens in it. So during and in are synonymous. Now, the bad thing about getting in utero is look at these checking letters. I get 4 useless vowels. So maybe, should we go for 12 down? 12 down is the blockbuster. Gives all the starting letters, 10 letters long. It has an F in it. Eats early and extravagantly during holidays. Extravagantly. Something's extravagant. What is it? It's very... Extravagance is a splurge. Or feast. To feast would be to eat extravagantly. During holidays. I've got a clue. I don't know, and this is poor on my part. I don't know what the definition is here. You know, normally this is a lot of the skill of cryptic crossword solving, is to cut the clue. So here, are we looking for a 10-letter word that means eats? I don't think it can mean eats early. There aren't words that mean that. So it could be a 10-letter word that means eats, or it could mean holidays maybe, or during holidays. But during feels like it's part of the recipe to me. Like it feels like I need a word for holidays, breaks, or some breakfasts. It's breakfasts, isn't it? Because that's got breaks. Extravagantly. Is that fast? That's weird. I think it's breakfasts. And the way it works is eats early. I said, I don't think there are words for eats early, but I think to breakfast is presumably to have the early meal of the day, to eat early. So breakfasts is being defined by eats early. And that is equivalent, and the and is doing the duty of an equal sign. So eats early, breakfasts. And in terms of the recipe, this is equal to extravagantly, I think must be fast. We'll check that in a minute. I'm not changing the answer, but I think it's going to be fast. I suppose, yeah, if you play hard and fast with rules, you're extravagant, maybe. And then breaks are holidays. So I think providing fast and extravagant are synonymous. It's completely so there it's there, extravagantly or dissipatedly. Now, well, this is a huge answer because we get 1, 2, well, we get 4 more starting letters. So let's go in order. Let's try 13. Danger signal, red alert, or danger sign induced conservatives to switch leaders. Why is it red alert? maybe it's red something else. Red. A danger sign is a red alert. Induced conservatives. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure. Induced. I don't know. That's weird, isn't it? I haven't. I mean, I thought it was going to be red alert, but I can't see why it's red alert. And so, if I take my own advice, I shouldn't put it in. Let's try 17 instead. So 6 letters, A blank I at the start. An American transfixed by writer's hostility. Well, I know a word for hostility that fits this pattern, and that's the word animus. So why? Yeah, okay. Why? It's a good question. See if you can work out why this must be correct, why this string of letters is given by the recipe. Because we know that the word hostility describes animus. So the rest of this has to be something without anything superfluous in it that gives rise to this string of letters. An. Well, that's literally the word an at the start. American. US. So an, US, transfixed by, if you're transfixed by something, you're sort of skewered by it, aren't you? So skewered by writers with this possessive apostrophe. I'm. So that's Jason saying, using the possessive, if you like. So I am would become I'm, i.e. the writers. It's a sort of convention that sometimes appears in cryptic crosswords. Now, let's keep going with the starting letters because I'm tempted to look at this one, but we might be able to get more help for it. Passed out. Okay, let's look at this clue. I thought the answer was going to be slept. It might be, but it might not as well. When you see a clue that's two words long in a cryptic crossword, it's very often a double definition. I was simply looking for a word that means past, and it will also mean out. Passed out. I mean, the thing is that passed out could be slept, couldn't it? But that's not a cryptic crossword clue. That's a definition. So passed out. I don't know. I'm not sure what that is, actually. Sorry. Let's try 27 across. 5-2, beginning with S. Did substitute put up with row after losing head? Okay, I can do this one. Again, the only trick to solving this clue is to cut the clue in the correct place. So make a decision in your own minds. Where are you cutting the clue? If you cut the clue after the word substitute, that is correct. So did substitute. It's a phrase that means did substitute. The rest of the clue is a recipe. Now, the way I actually solved this is I thought of a word for a row. A row is a lot of noise, isn't it? It's a din. And then after losing head, well, if we take the head letter off the word din, we get the word in. So I could see how the end of this clue was likely to end. And then it's just understanding the first bit of it. And if you put up with something, you stood it, didn't you? And if you did substitute for something, you stood in. So stood in is the answer there. Now, I am going to look at this. I'm very interested in this letter here, the 7th letter. 9 letters. First person sister went out with could be in deep water. What a brilliant surface again. I was going to say foundered. If you're foundering, you're in deep water. First person. Dated. That's fantastic. Inundated is the answer, isn't it? Oh, wow. Okay. This does look like slept, which is slightly terrifying. But first person in sort of grammar is I. And then a sister is a nun. And if you went out with, you dated someone. Put all those together, I nun dated, and say it a bit differently, inundated. And if you're inundated with something, you're sort of in deep water in the sense you're over busy. Oh, so it's not red alert here, which is probably good and why I couldn't understand it. Okay. So the Conservatives are on the right of British politics, although some people argue about that. So Conservatives switching leaders, so maybe that we're taking the letter R out and putting something else in. Danger sign. Red light then. Oh, no. So it's a sort of spoonerism. We're switching the leading letters. Okay, so induced Conservatives. You led right. And if we switch the first letters of led and right, we get red light, which is a danger sign. Lovely. Again, very clever. And I'm very pleased, actually, that Jason's done it in this way, because often this changing of initial letters or switching of syllables at the start of a phrase of 2 words is done using a spoonerism. And there's a reference to this guy, Reverend Spooner, who existed, I think, in the 1920s or around then, who apparently used to often spoonerize his sentences by switching initial syllables around. And it's such an anachronism, whereas this is done much more elegantly. Now, let's go back to this then. Passed out. I mean, I feel like it must be slept. But why is that? I mean, passed out, I suppose, could mean other things. If you passed out of a school, you sort of, you achieved a passing grade. Passed. I'm worried this is the one that Matthew got wrong, because there's another way of reading it. past. Spent? Past. That is evil. I think it's spent. That's absolutely evil. Why do I think it's because I think that we can think of the word spent as being defined separately by the word past and the word out. I think. Here's if you passed time somewhere, you spent time there, didn't you? So past and spent are definitely synonymous. And if you're out, you're sort of out of energy. You're spent. You've used it. You're totally and utterly tired. And the good thing about this is it doesn't, we are thinking of a word that means both of the words in the clue. Whereas if we treat the answer as slept, it's reading the clue as a straightforward clue. And I don't think that can be right. So I much prefer spent as an answer there. Although I bet there's a few people who make an error there. I think spent is a better answer than slept. That's very, very tricky. Let's try 2 down. Now, 7 letters ending in D. Looked for a second church seen in good light. Glanced. That's right, I think. But I read the clue in a way that was unhelpful. I'm going to read it again. Looked for a second church seen in good light. That's how I think I should have read it. Looked for a second is to glance, so glanced in the past tense. Now, church, if you see church in a cryptic crossword clue, it will almost always either be CE for Church of England or CH, which I think is the symbol you'd see on an Ordnance Survey map for a church. And why does this work? Seen in good light. Well, G can be an abbreviation for good. And then if you land on somewhere, you light there. To land and to light are to light is a sort of old word for what happens when a ship docks in a port. You light there, or you might say you were lighted. But I think that's what's going on. So that's why we get glanced. We can try 3 down, 5 letters ending in M. For these people, taking heroin is a fetish. For these people. That's tricky. Okay. Have you got an idea what the answer is? If you've got an idea, can you justify it? I don't think this is that easy. For these people, you should be thinking, I was thinking of them. But then I was like, them is 4 letters. If I take an H out or I add an H in, how is this working? But now I've had a different idea. For these people could be synonymous with a 2-word phrase. For these people, to them, these people, it made a difference, or whatever the ending of that would be. So to and then them. But then if we take H for heroin out, and H is a valid abbreviation for heroin, let's just look at that. There. Then we can create totem. And a totem is a fetish, I think. I mean, I'm confident enough I'm going to leave it there, so I will look it up. Is it not listed there? An outwardly a symbol, various symbols. This doesn't actually say fetish, does it? Maybe if we look under fetish, it'll say a totem. Oh. An object believed to procure for its owner the services of a spirit. Well, that's what a totem pole is, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's fine. Now, should we go for one across? Oh. Sleeping partner may be in this close relationship. Nighty? It is nighty. It is nighty. So sleeping partner may be in this, i.e. dressed in this, dressed in a nighty, and the recipe is close relationship. If you're close to something, it's nigh, N-I-G-H, and then a relationship is a tie, so nighty works. Now, is this eyesight? Faculty, almost certainly, 8 letters. Faculty, certainly entertained by people rowing. Well, people who row are in an 8, and then we want a word for certainly. If somebody asked you a question and you said certainly, that would be a posh way of saying yes. So we'll put yes. Oh, I messed that up. We'll put yes in the middle of 8 and create eyesight, and certainly a faculty is eyesight, isn't it? So we're in with a good chance now, assuming spent is correct, of getting this one done. Now, 4 letters beginning with N for one down. Showing skill having no weak components. Oh, why? Know-how? No. Showing skill. Oh no, I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to do this one. That's so bad. 9 letters for 9 across. We've got lots of them, but we don't have the first one. Article on equality. Splitting support for divisive regime. Well, divisive regime, it might be apartheid. It must be apartheid, mustn't it? Now, why is that the answer? Article on equality. Okay, support is aid. If you give someone support, you give them aid. Article. Oh, I see. If equality is par, isn't it? If you're on par with something, you're equal to it. So we've got par and the word the. Now, the word the is the definite article in speech, as opposed to an indefinite article, which would be a or an. So we've got article, the, on equality, so next to the word par, splitting, a word for support, which is aid. I mean, the only reason you get this is by having all these checking letters. And now, showing skill, having no weak components. I know that W is a valid abbreviation for weak, which is giving me pause for thought here. Showing skill. Having no weak components. Neat? Why? Why? Skill. Showing. Oh, I don't know. Near? Neat or near? And I don't know which of those is less likely, frankly. Noah? N-E-A and then something. Neep as in tide? C-D. Doing an alphabet trawl now, which is terrible, isn't it? O-P-Q-R, near, neat. Oh, I don't believe it. That's so bad. Showing skill, having no weak components. What the? Having no weak components. I'm so sorry. I haven't got a clue what this is at all. And that's a big problem when you're not going to get any more letters here. I've got to just read the clue the correct way. Showing skill. If you show skill, you're sort of adept at something, aren't you? I mean, could it be neat? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's neat. And this is a reference to drinks, isn't it? So if you're showing skill at something, maybe you're neat at it. But having no weak components, if you water down your brandy at the end of an evening, you wouldn't be having it neat. So it would be rather than it being weakened in some way with water, you'd be having it neat. So I think it's neat then. I won't change that, but should we just look up the word neat and see if it means showing skill? Elegant, adroit, deft. Deft, that means showing skill, doesn't it? Unmixed, there's the other meaning. Unmixed, undiluted. And also, of course, the cattle meanings. But this is what I'd submit. Let's see if we've made an error. I hope we haven't. No, that's good. That's good. That's the tricky one. 25 across is the naughty there. There's a beautiful puzzle, though. So many good clues in that. So many good clues. And a sting. That 25 down is almost a deliberate trap, in my opinion. So there we go. Shall we have a quick go? Hopefully a quick go at the quick cryptic. Let's see if we can do any damage with this. Let's see if it actually works and loads. Yeah, we get by Hurley. Meeting Irishmen before church. Seance Sean. Mark 100. Ultimately superlative. Scarce. Escape group of ships not entirely. Flee. A number sorted. 13 looks like an anagram. Democrat is eager for changing. Conflict. Disagree. Urgent order to abandon court. Urgent. Don't know. Confusion mostly hard to coordinate. Don't know. Don't know. One opposing aim, nothing right. One opposing. Intend. Mask, veil. Claim everything. Allege. Drink cartel out of order. It's claret, I think. Somewhat before all, I fear real life or something. I think it's a hidden. Fail to meet under something. Underachieve? Probably. One with liability at first demanding debtor. Aspire. Ricochet. Oki. There's so much going on about darts there. Old-fashioned aren't idle vain. Old-fashioned. Antediluvian? Oh, I can never spell this. Antediluvian, probably. I think it's got 2 E's in it, according to the... No, it hasn't. No, antediluvian. That makes more sense. Envied on regular basis. Eve. Store maybe. Source of verbal accounts. I don't know. To some degree, despicable person. Rather. Rat her. Trim. Oh, spruce. Ball. Double definition. Learnt about those earlier. Urgent. Dire. Direct. Confusion. Mess. Mesh. Determined. Resolved. I'll go for that without knowing. Objector. Yes. Okay, we've just got one left. This one. Store. Maybe. Source of verbal accounts. Arc? No. Store. Maybe. Source of verbal accounts. Is this Resolute? Oh, you silly man. Resolute retailer or retailer store? A retailer. Source of verbal accounts. I think it's retailer. I think. I'm not totally sure. Oh no, don't do that. Reload tab, you rotter. Oh, I mean, that's an outrage. No, I was totally hoisted there by, not by my petard, but by the Times Crossword site messing me about. 9th out of 176. Not brilliant. No, Mark's put in a good time there, but even Mark was beaten by Matthew. 154. That's phenomenally quick on that puzzle. I didn't think it was that easy. Did anyone else think it was that easy? Gosh, dearie me. Just checking everything looks like it's in the right place on the screen. I think it is. So we had 2 lovely puzzles today. Hurley, and then one by the Times Crossword editor himself, Jason. Very nice as always, my friend. Let me know in the comments how you're going with your own cryptic crossword solving. We enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And do please subscribe if you can. Yeah, we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.